You are now tuned in to the sounds of Big Nate Sports Talk. It's on all the time, anytime.
Tuned in to Big Nate Sports Talk, the show that is on all the time, anytime. And now, ladies and gentlemen, your host, Nathan Snell.
And as always, thank you, Mr. Anthony Handy, for that wonderful introduction. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is your host, Nathan Snell of Big Nate Sports Talk Podcast. This is episode 403 of the podcast. And this week, we're recapping week 7 of the Baltimore Ravens defeated the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on Monday Night Football. Before we get into that, there's a few things I want to say up front. You should have seen the epilogue of the WNBA season last night. That episode was recorded when it's going up today. You should see it at some point. That's going to conclude WNBA season. College basketball is right around the corner. As soon as I'm done with this episode, I'm going to record Washington Commanders reaction. At some point, if it's not today, it's going to be tomorrow, recapping Maryland football win against USC and getting ready for Minnesota. But I also have a WNBA mock draft 1.0. Have my notes, everything ready for that, so stay tuned in for that. I'll probably push it off to sometime over the weekend. But let's get into it. I really don't know how to really feel about this game. The Baltimore Ravens defeated the Buccaneers 41-31. I don't really know how to really feel about this game. First, I was not nervous, but coming into this game, I know that Tampa Bay has a very blitz-happy defense, and I was curious to see how we're going to look against that. I'm going to start on the Tampa Bay side of the ball. You look at the offense, look at the offensive line. They really kind of picked their poison. Coming into this game, Baltimore has the 32nd. We're 32nd in stopping the pass. We have, it's disgusting. They averaged about 4 yards per carry in the game. Sean Tucker averaged close to 6. Their offensive line was primarily key to that. Their defense, I thought they kind of made it. If you look at that first play, that first drive for Baltimore, 3 plays all went backwards. I thought they were decent against the run. They allowed Derrick Henry to get long gains in the second half, but I don't think they really did enough. I still think they can be a good defense, but they definitely have some kinks that got to work out. I also thought their linebacker situation, I thought we took advantage of. Levante, whether it was Levante David, whether it was KJ Britt, I just think that the middle of the field is their liability. And that got kind of exposed. If you look at some of the run angles they took, I don't know how to really say it on that. That was kind of disappointing. You look at the overall just kind of all over the place, but negative wise, for the offense, you lose 2 players. Losing Mike Evans in the first half In my personal opinion, he shouldn't have been playing. And then Chris Godwin, it was reported that, at first I thought it was an Achilles injury. Then it was reported he's a dislocated ankle, so his season's over. I still think I think they'll be okay, but I think to lose two of your top tier, your number one, number two receivers, that sucks. Mike Evans still, from what I saw after, I think he could be out until week 11. So we'll see about that. But if you look, Cade Otton, I mean, yeah, he stepped up when it was needed. So I'm curious to see how that offense will look going forward without them. They got off to a good start. They punched us in the face with a 70-yard drive and a 25-yard touchdown, which left Mike Evans wide open, which makes absolutely no sense. I'll give them as a positive. Again, the running game, they did pretty decent. Baker Mayfield completed was 31 of 45, 370 yards, 3 touchdowns. Their total offense was 481 yards. That was great. They had coming into this game, Baltimore was the number one best defense. When you have to contain Rashard White, Bucky Irvin, and Sean Tucker, they combined for 226 yards and 3 touchdowns. I can't defend that. Whether that, and again, you credit the blocking effort up front with Cade, Chris, Mike, all those guys did their job. Defensively, I gotta give them that. They kept us contained, 69 yards a half. And then second half that changed. Lamar was 17 22, 281 yards and 5 touchdowns. Daniel QBR passing perfect rating was at 158. So I looked at those stats. We did better against their defense, especially in that second half. I think Whitfield led the team in tackles, if I remember correctly. I don't know. I don't. The way this game looked, it should not have been a 10-point win. I'm just going to be completely honest as I say that. It felt more like a like a 3-point loss. I think going forward for Tampa, I think their defense needs to be a little bit better. Yes, they've dealt with some injuries, but again, your offense can't. I think it's expected. From it looked like they had to play perfect, and I noticed they played a 4-3 defense, and I didn't see any adjustments going in the second half. So, and again, also too, without Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, what does that offense look like? Sure, Sterling Shepard's out there, and then you have Cade Otton, but wide receiver depth. Who else is going to step up? You got McLaurin. You got oh my gosh, can't even get the kid's name. Jalen McMillan. I think he's going to be okay. There's a lot of questions there for Tampa. And then I have to really I have to call out Todd Bowles. I really question when they went for the onside kick, and John Harbaugh did mention there's going to be some changes, particularly on the hands team. With 3 minutes and 46 seconds left on the clock, why would you keep your starters in the game with less than close to 90 seconds, no timeouts? Your number 2 wide receiver is now out, and then Mike Evans went down. When your team is inconsistent, that falls on you as a coach. And I'm going to be interesting to see, because they have to play Atlanta, Kansas City, and San Francisco. So until they know what Mike Evans' excessive of his injury is going to be, it's going to be interesting to see how they look in Tampa. I still think they'll be okay, but I think that those 2 injuries for Tampa offensively is going to hurt them down the stretch. Now, for Baltimore, I still think that this offense is still fine. It's fine, has found its rhythm. I think this offense is going to be fine. I'm proud of what we've been doing. When you look at the Baltimore Ravens, everyone in the offense is just been doing something. Outside, we talk about Derrick Henry, the biggest person we haven't really been given a lot of. I think we have, but he deserves recognition. Is Justice Hill. He's found a role within that offense. He had 5 catches for 4 yards, but did most of his, from the passing game. 3 catches, 44 yards, and a touchdown. You can't take away that from him. Mark Andrews is now the leading reception. He surpassed Todd Heat in tight ends as a tight end. Rashard Bateman is really starting to find his ground in this offense, and I'm really proud of the growth I've seen, especially these last couple of years where he has gotten criticized, injuries, also all those different things like that. Our pass rush did pretty good, but we allowed Tampa to complete 11 completions on 17 third downs. Can't defend that. And then obviously, Derrick Henry. But breaking it down even more, when you look at the fact that Lamar threw 5 touchdowns, he also ran the ball 9 times for 52 yards, if I remember correctly. And especially, he even threw, you remember that key block for Derrick Henry in the second half. That first drive after, you saw the offense look more poised, especially when you're stacked on back-to-back plays. You're down 10-0. Then, especially when he got away from that I call it the blitz happy defense, and then he found Rashard Bateman for 59 yards, if I remember correctly. Justice Hill, Mark Andrews, then that's when it kind of came together. Lamar has now. I'm hoping that this. I'm not going to bring up all the stuff, but I thought the play of the game was when he connected to Rashard Bateman, which I thought was a great throw, and it was right into his hands, his arms in the end zone. And again, I mean, Lamar Jackson has 15 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He doubled. If you look at his stats from the first 7 games until now, he's doubled his touchdowns. And I still think if you look, 6 of those possessions in the second and third quarter, that was essentially nail in the coffin for the game. So I still think that at times the offense is finding is doing its job. My concern down the stretch is I don't want us as a team to be the reason we lost, because the Ravens will do that, a la the Oakland Raiders game. Las Vegas Raiders game. Now my concern, the reason I say that is because, and that transitions to my next point. I mentioned it earlier about our defense. Our passing defense needs work. Marlon Humphrey, outside of the 2 interceptions, was great. But how? You're up 23 points and you win the game by 10. Make that make sense. 2 weeks ago, you gave up more than 30 points and had to beat Cincinnati in overtime. This secondary looks suspect. I mean, we're giving up chunks of yardage and points. I mean, we ended this game was at 31st in pass defense. We almost allowed 276 passing yards a game. Baker Mayfield took advantage of that. I mean, if you look at the second half, that's all they did. But again, it also, too, they've proven all you got to do is throw the ball in the middle of the field. And Rashard White, on that 18-yard catch and run, and then his first touchdown, would have been our interceptions. One went through our Derek Washington's hand. I mean, I don't know where the disconnect is. This coming in the summer, we all were like, the secondary looks great, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, if we have to depend on Lamar and the offense Derrick Henry and all them to bail us out of games with this kind of defense, it's going to be a problem, and that needs to be addressed.
I mean, this is some bad stuff. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what I'm going to say. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know how much more of this I can take. I just don't know. This is ridiculous. Oh, Lord. I
mean, and Zach Orr, I mean, you can sit there and shake your head all you want to, but this falls on you. Now, and everyone talked about, why do we not go after this play? We need to go after Cooper Kupp. No, they need to focus on getting somebody in the secondary, because this is awful. This is disgusting. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, oh, they're going to have a field day against that secondary, and that can't happen. I was immensely disappointed with our secondary. Want to kind of go back more on Rashard Bateman a little bit. My notes here: 4 catches, 121 yards. Is averaging 19 yards a catch this season. The criticism, especially he missed much of his rookie, going back to rookie season because of injury. And then the same thing, had a foot injury. I think he got rushed back from that too fast. Then there was he and Lamar, this argument that they've never been in sync. I think that's been proven wrong. Now you've got a healthy Rashard Bateman. I think this is what we've been wanting to see. And I appreciate, and I have been one where I said it's all about patience. You have to look at context, because context always matters. I don't understand why we pick and choose to put context into certain situations, but that's neither here nor there. When you look at the Ravens, I mean, got paid, and I appreciate Lamar especially, and Eric DaCosta too, coming to that man's defense, and it's not going unnoticed. Like like him and Zay Flowers together, that can be something special for the next couple years to come. So I'm really proud of what we're doing now. I do actually want to stick on the offense as another negative. We really, I question these screen passes. Did you not see the one where it was a screen pass and it was a fumble, and it took 5 guys to try to tackle, and he scored. But it was that Isaiah Likely had touched the guy. I can't remember who it was, but he caught it, and nobody could tackle him. Now, this is our second year in the offense, and we've noticed that. We've been doing the screen pass. I personally don't like the screen. I think it's probably the most I get the idea of what a screen does for your offense, but yeah. Credit the offensive lineman, credit how we're running it. It looks a little better. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. And then I'm also looking at the rest of the schedule for us. We got Cleveland this upcoming weekend without Deshaun Watson. Pittsburgh's now 5-2 with Russell Wilson now as the starter. Then we got Denver the following weekend. Then we go to Cincinnati comes back here. And then we got to go to Pittsburgh. And then that's our first game on the 17th next month. And then the next time we see Pittsburgh is on the 21st. So that's going to be interesting. But in all, I mean, takeaways from it, I mean, the offense looked great as a positive. Derrick Henry, I think is making the offense's job look so much simple. I think that's also been that's what a star does for your offense. He doesn't have to be, as long as you have somebody that's a difference maker in your offense. I think that's the key. We've argued over the years, hey, he needs, somebody like a Devontae Adams, somebody that could be a difference maker. And Derrick has proven that for this offense. And I really like what I'm seeing. Now, I am a little disappointed. Again, our secondary needs to improve. I said it from after week 3. They need to make a trade. I've seen us go after, say they should bring back Marcus Peters. Respectfully, I don't know what he would bring at his age. I'm not against it, but is it something that they're willing to do? The passing, I'm concerned because that defense is going to be an issue for us. And yeah, but if I had to give a game ball, Lamar Jackson, Mark Andrews, because he surpassed Todd Heap most such as a tight end. He surpassed Todd Heap in touchdowns. Derrick Henry, obviously, and Marlon Humphrey for the 2 interceptions. Outside of that, that was pretty much the game. I'm really not happy. I mean, I'm glad we won the game, but to see the final score like that, it kind of gave me the Dallas Cowboys game. So, yeah, we'll be right back.
Thoughts are running through my mind, so I took some time to find a minute or two to organize them.
Okay, the one final thought is not a Baltimore Raven. It's actually a divisional rival opponent, and it's talking about Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson is out for the season due to a ruptured Achilles. I wish him well in his recovery. When you hear the fans cheering that he got hurt, I thought that was disgusting. Listen, all the off the field stuff, there's no excuse for that. But we're talking on the field. I get it. The Browns haven't been playing well. And I don't think they've got any better from the last couple of years. And they've been a mess this season. Nick Chubb, he's coming back. He's coming off his injury. Now Amari Cooper is gone. They haven't done anything to get better. And to see the guy that you invested in, and then you have the fans cheering that, and on top of that, how you've been performing as a team, that's a lot. And, we can say what we want. I get it. All the off the field stuff. Again, I'm not defending that. And no one should defend that. But at the end of the day, these athletes are still human. And that's my biggest issue with society. We pick and choose who to forgive. And, I feel that that's a double standard. I thought we were supposed to be this forgiving, everyone deserves a second chance and all this other stuff. I mean, again, we're talking about on the field. On the field, when healthy, is a Pro Bowl quarterback. Last couple years, dealing with injuries. But to, I think, cheer when somebody gets hurt, that really lets me know who you are as a person. And mind you, when he was signed, some of those same fans had no problem welcoming him with open arms. That was my one final thought. I just think, that was distasteful. Chris Godwin, much respect to him. I hope he gets well soon. I feel for him because I think this is his last year in his contract. I think he'll still stay in Tampa. But to come off one injury and then kind of suffer another one, I'm kind of mad at Todd Bowles for that. He really should have set the starters down, put the young guys in. But that tells me everything right there I need to know of him as a coach, because that's going to lose some trust in your locker room. You're willing to sacrifice players, try to win a football game. But look, injuries are part of the game. I don't like it. Your star receiver coming into this game really wasn't 100%, yet he still played. So, those are my one final thought. Injuries suck, and get well soon. But with that being said, please like, comment, and subscribe for all future content. You will see episode 403, 405 soon. But until then, it's your host, Nathan Snell, Big Nate Sports Talk Podcast. Thank you for tuning in. Enjoy the rest of your day. Peace. Stay up.
Thank you for tuning in to Big Nate Sports Talk. If you enjoyed that episode, be sure to like, subscribe, and share Big Nate Sports Talk. It's on all the time, anytime.
And I want to thank you. All I want to do is say thank you for everything you do.